Hello, Hope TV family. I'm Lakeisha Paul, and this is the House of Hope Atlanta, where our pastor is Pastor E. Dewey Smith Jr., and we believe that life with God is better in every way, every day. We would first like to thank Pastor Smith for this platform and for giving us the opportunity to present these ideas and gifts that we have. I would also like to thank our producers, our assistant producers, our engineers, our technicians, and the host of people of the behind the scenes, and that helps to put this show together. I would like to thank our Boss Up family and everyone that is watching, and thank you all for rocking with us week after week. We have a great show for you today. The theme of the show is Dress for Success. And we have two wonderful ladies that are here today, and they are the CEO, founders, and creators of Get Dress Co., which is an online ladies fashion boutique launched in October of 2020. They are two sisters that were born and raised in Kansas City, Missouri, and their love for fashion and sophistication was the foundation that they needed to launch out into the fashion industry. The mission of Get Dress Co. is for their consumers to get dressed in their unique dresses and exemplify sophistication in all shapes and sizes at a reasonable cost. So, Boss Up family, please help me in welcoming Miss Jennifer McNeil and Miss Candace Wesson. Ladies, please say hello to our Boss Up family.
Hello, Boss Up family.
Hi, Boss Up family.
Thank you, ladies, so much for joining. And we would like to welcome you and our Boss Up family and let you all know that if you're joining us today, please share this video on all of your social media platforms so that your friends and families and anyone that you know can gain this wealth of knowledge that these ladies are about to drop on us today. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So it says that you ladies are from Kansas City, Missouri. Can you all tell me, not sure, let's go with Jennifer first. Tell me how you all met.
We met because our mother gave birth to us. I am the baby girl. We're actually biological sisters.
Actual sisters.
Yes, we are. Candace is the oldest. It's 5 of us, actually. I'm the baby girl, and Candace is a twin. So she's older than me. I'm the baby. So that's how we met.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yes.
So when did you first know that you all had a passion or a flair for fashion and wanted to get into the fashion industry?
Well, I had a flair for fashion back in high school. I remember being a junior, I think, and for 2 consecutive years, junior year and my senior year, I won best dress. So I was always a dress person. I never really liked pants or anything like that. I've always liked dresses. And so that kind of continued, throughout life. And then it wasn't until maybe 5 years ago that I was like, hey, let's just go ahead and do an online boutique where we sell actual dresses. Because even going in church and going to work, we would always get compliments on our dresses. So it just kind of clicked one day, like, yeah, let's just sell dresses because it would only make sense.
Okay. So do you all design as well?
Not yet. Not yet. Although there are some sketches on paper, but we haven't, given them over to a designer or anything like that.
Oh, well, hey, it's coming. How about that?
It's coming.
Write the vision, and you already had it down on paper, okay?
Right. Yes, ma'am.
All right. So give me a little bit of your background. Jennifer, what is your business background and where did you start before getting into this business?
Well, my business background is I've done home care for years. So that's pretty much what I do outside of Get Dressed, outside of assisting Candace with her non-for-profit, which is the Help KC. We do that as well. So outside of that, I take care of people, which is really a passion of mine. I would do it for free if I could. That's what I do outside of Get Dressed and outside of the Help KC. I do a home care. I'm self-employed, so I do it on my own with that as well. So that is what I do.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And Candace, what is your background?
My background is I run a non-for-profit, and I've been running that for 5 years. It'll be 5 years this year. And then I've always believed in multiple streams of income. And then to add fashion to that, it was like, yeah, it only makes sense. So being in the non-for-profit industries you run into, because non-for-profit is, even though it says non-for-profit, it's still a business. You still have to run it as a business. So even dealing with that and running to a lot of CEOs and different owners and things like that, it just kind of got in me to just start another business. So that's pretty much my background is starting in the non-for-profit industry and moving on to the for-profit sector.
Okay, that makes perfect sense because we all want profit, right?
Right.
Okay, so I noticed that your bio said that your business started October 2020. Now, to launch a small business is difficult within itself. For you to start one in the middle of a pandemic, how was that for you? Was it difficult? What were the challenges you faced?
My thought process was we knew it would be difficult, but we didn't know it would be as difficult because we still had the mindset that, even though people are at home working, there are still some that are still going to work to where they can still wear our pieces. But it was like, as things progress, it was like the sales, they started off okay, then they started slowing down. But now that the city is starting to open back up and we're starting to get a handle on this pandemic, we're looking for sales to kind of go up. But it was a little difficult, but it was a better start than what we anticipated.
Right. And we are driven by challenges. So it makes us better, makes us stronger. So when we were faced with the challenge, we just kind of we sat down and we tried to come up with different ways of marketing and how to get our merchandise pushed out there, even in the midst of a pandemic, because with everything that was going on, we were still able to make those necessary connections, but it challenged us to think, while in the pandemic. So we embraced the challenge that came with Get Dressed during the pandemic.
I completely understand that because I know sitting at home, Amazon has been at my door almost every day.
Same here.
So, to know that there's a Black-owned business out there that has some nice fashions, y'all. I've checked out your website. The fashion is nice. The prices are nice. And I will be a customer. So, if you need another model, But you ladies look really good on your website as well. So I understand that there are different challenges, but Jennifer just mentioned the fact of getting your product out there. What way did you all go about marketing, and how important is marketing to the success of your business?
Oh, amazing question. Okay, you want to answer?
It's a big part because when we started, we didn't really have like the finances in place to hire like a marketing team. Because if I had it my way, even dealing with a non-for-profit, I would just hire a whole team for marketing, because when it comes to being tech savvy and all of that, I know the basics, the bare minimum. All that other stuff, it's not for me. So if I could hire a whole marketing team, I would. But it is a big part of increasing sales and things like that. So going forward, that is something that we plan to do, is to hire a marketing team just to kind of put us out there, because it's a very big piece of it. It's a very big piece of business, period. No matter if it's non-for-profit or for-profit, it's just a very big piece of business.
And then another thing that we did is we connected with those who were already out there in the forefront, and we sold our merchandise into them, and they wore our merchandise and they put it on their social media sites, just to kind of give us, because when you're a new business and people don't know who you are, sometimes people that are known that wear our product, it puts us out there. So we just kind of sat down and came up with strategies and ways to get it out there, being that we're new and no one knew who we were. And it worked. It really did. So, we just try to come up with little different things where we are to push our product.
Okay. Jennifer, you are really doing like all of the work for me right now, because everything I'm about to ask you, you give me a segue right into it. Because my next question, which you just touched on, was about networking. I know that with small businesses, with family, with anything, it takes a village, and that's not just to raise a kid. So
Right.
how important, or how how pivotal has networking been to the success of your business that you've had thus far?
It's very important, but what we're learning is that, and again, it's a challenge, but we're learning and it's okay. But what we're learning, especially in this city, is that sometimes people, they don't support you, they support popularity. And if you're not popular, so to speak, they won't support. But our job is to maintain our dignity by selling pieces to where we are fully clothed, selling cute covered pieces and sophisticated pieces. So we'll continue to do that regardless of who support or who don't support. And even while, and I think one of our biggest marketing strategies is when we're out, they see us and say, oh, that's cute. So I hand them a card. I'm like, hey, go to our website. It can be yours too. So, but networking is very important. We try our best to, especially on social media, is to maintain a platform that's respectable and tasteful, to where they'll still look at us and say, okay, they're about what they say, they're about what they sell. But it's a very important piece, and it's something that you have to do, especially in business. You have to do it daily.
And then too, what comes with networking is supporting each other. So therefore, and sometimes you have to change. Your expectation can't always be that of the people that you support, they're going to support you back. And that, don't let that discourage you, because sometimes that can be discouraging, because we support everybody and sometimes you don't get that back. But at the same time, don't let that stop you supporting people. And that's another way of networking. There's a young lady who's doing the same thing. She has we support, we push, we share, because at the end of the day, that's how networking works. It's each other helping one another, basically. So,
but everybody don't have that same mindset, because we support a lot and it's not reciprocated. But again, we still push, we still have to keep going. So, because again, that mindset is not there, and they look at it as a competition, and it's really not, because it's what, over 9 billion people on the planet. So people can buy from you, they can buy from us. So, and it's just as simple, but they don't look at it like that. But it's not a discouragement to us. I mean, we just keep it moving.
I completely understand that, and I can agree with that as well. I know in business, I found that a lot of people try to depend on family, friends, and people that they know to actually support their business.
Right.
But that's not typically where your consumer base comes from.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, a stranger or someone you don't know, or a new connection that you make, can be more supportive and more beneficial to you than the ones you feel like should be supporting you because of all you've done for them. So I'm glad that you all have learned not to be discouraged through that, because I know it can be tough. So
absolutely.
in looking at your background, both of you mentioned that you've been like doing things on your own and having your own businesses. Do you feel that you chose entrepreneurship, or do you think entrepreneurship chose you? Like it was just always in you and you had no choice?
It definitely chose me, because I would have been content being behind somebody's desk, somebody's secretary or admin assistant, and I would have been okay. But it was something, it's like it kept calling my name, and it's like, no, and you can only ignore it for so long, but then you kind of fall into it. But yeah, it definitely chose me, because there's some frustrating times, and then but the good times outweigh those, so it makes it all worth it.
I don't know if entrepreneurship chose me. I'm more so of a leader, per se. So I'm such a team player to where it's like, put me on your team and let's win. That's me, So I don't know if entrepreneurship chose me, but I know I'm just a God-given leader. So I don't know if it's the same thing, but that's kind of, more so my mindset.
But I think we're both
I understand that.
valuable team players, because if you put us, even if we're together like a cohesive unit or separate, if you put us on a team and give us the ball, we're gonna run into the end zone every time, because that's how we operate. But I mean, it's just in us. It's just in us.
I understand. So, okay, so you're both natural leaders, you're great team players, and now you started your own business and everything is starting to take off and do well for you. Is it difficult to balance like home and family life with not taking the job home and working through the midnight hours and at 2 o'clock in the morning sending out emails. Is that difficult for you?
It is very difficult. Nicole, I don't even know what TV is. Like, people will say, did you watch that Netflix movie? What Netflix movie? I watch Golden Girls. That's about all I get to watch. Because between the non-for-profit and this business, like, I don't get to do anything else. Now, of course, you know, being a wife and a mother, you have to balance that. You have to give home and family their time. But anything outside of that, it's like, I don't have time for. I don't even have time for TV. So, I mean, it's not difficult. But, I mean, at times you just want that time to yourself just to kind of inhale that, you know, have an exhale moment. But you don't get to get those many chances. But, you know, you just kind of push through it. But it's very difficult, very difficult.
It's difficult. It is. And it's one of those things, as you go, you learn balance. Because she's a wife, I'm a single parent. So, and then on the weekends, I don't even see my home because I work a lot on the weekends. So then when you do get home is where the office is, and then you have to send out merchandise, and it's like at the same time it's like, but then you got to cook dinner, and then you got to, and then so you really, the art to it is learning balance, because there are days where we take a break from each other because we're sisters and we're business partners, but there are days where we don't talk, because if we're going to stay friends, we're going to stay partners. We can't talk today. Right. We can't talk today because it gets like that. But again, we learned that through doing business, that some days it's like, let's take a break, call you tomorrow. Because, with everything on our plates, it gets to be overwhelming. But again, when you learn balance, it'll flow. It really will.
I understand that. I did an interview. Well, I was the producer for an interview with JJ Harrison, and he said that there's never a balance. There's only prioritizing, because you can never give everything the full attention it deserves in every moment. Absolutely. So there's not a balance. You have to, okay, today is family day, so I'm going to focus on that and ignore these emails. Or today is a work day, so I'm going to focus on that, and I'll see you when I get home. So it's about prioritizing more so than balance. So, I completely understand. So let me ask you, you talked about keeping your brand pure and sophisticated and representing what you represent. To me, that speaks branding. What do you do as far as branding yourself? Because technically you are your brand. Mm-hmm. So when you're out in public, or when you're even with just the kids, being, representing your business and yourself is like a 24-hour thing. Yeah. What is the brand or the message that you're trying to make sure people receive when they think of Get Dressed?
So when you think of Get Dressed, and I hope she's not embarrassed when I say this. So Jennifer used to go out with bonnets on her head.
I did not go out with bonnets. Now don't do that.
So I would tell her, I said, Jennifer, we're a brand, we're this, let's be mindful of that, right? So, and not only that, I used to teach people, like sometimes my daughter would do it, and I used to say, listen, you can't go out with bonnets on your head, because that's not a good look, especially when, in business, it's like you can't do that. But what I'm learning is that we are the brand, whether we have on some of the dresses from our line or what have you, but we are our brand. And so people kind of get this thing like, because when Get Dressed was created, the whole goal was you don't have to reveal and show everything. You can be fully clothed and be sexy and sophisticated, because nowadays that's the whole thing. You got to be sexy. You got to be sexy. Okay, that's fine. But you can be sexy and fully clothed. And that's what we try to do. And that's what our line is, because we have dresses. They're very sexy, and they're very sophisticated, and they're professional, and they're tasteful. And a lot of people, well, there are some we ran into, that says, you don't sell this. And no, we don't. And we had a young lady that asked her, do you sell club wear? No, we don't. And it's not knocking those that do. It's just we don't prefer to sell revealing pieces.
And a lot of it goes to for the sophisticated woman, it ties into how we were raised. And again, this is no knock to anybody. Have people like what they like. People prefer what they prefer. And this is not to say that because you prefer to look sexy that you are less than, or that's your choice. But our brand, because of how we were raised, there are certain ways we just won't carry ourselves. We were raised in the church. We were raised to serve God and to carry yourself a certain way. So don't get me wrong, everything that we sell ain't down to your ankles or, things of that nature, but we still carry ourselves in a way because that's how we were raised. So, and again, like she was said, there's no knock to how you choose to dress, but our brand is more of the sophistication. And that's not to say that your brand is unsophisticated. It's just that's how a lot of it ties to how we were raised.
So I looked at some of the pieces on there. Have you run across a situation where you see your pieces but worn differently than their intent?
Absolutely. Yes, we have.
Don't do that, Lakeisha.
I think I've seen that without the bottom.
Don't do that, Lakeisha. Don't try to let us put people out there how they wore our property. Yeah.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
Yes, we have. We have seen it. We have.
But we're thankful for the sale, and we're going to move on.
Yes, there you go.
Hallelujah. Okay. So
yes.
Is one thing I want to know from you ladies. What is the biggest lesson you've learned in business thus far? Like just, from the startup, from the thought, the concept, the startup, getting into it, where you are now. What has been your biggest lesson? And if it's anything you would change about how you did it, what would that be?
I would have to say, if I could do it differently, I would have went to school and got a business administration degree versus relying on other individuals to have either, because nowadays you have to pay for everything. Whether you're getting their input, whether you're wanting to schedule a conference call with them, they charge you for literally everything. And I get it. I get it because that's their time. So I get that. But if I had it to do differently, I would definitely get my business degree and go forward from there. But outside of that, there's not much that I would change. As far as from a fashion standpoint, now we wouldn't have started as big as we did by buying all these pieces, getting in every size, where you could have just bought one piece and had them pre-order of some sort. But outside of those two things, there's not much I would do differently.
I think for me, what I would do differently is not so much the schooling aspect, but more so sitting at the feet of those who already accomplished what we're aiming to accomplish, getting more of the knowledge, doing more of the homework. And like she said, we learned a lot just through social media, internet. It was our friend. A lot of things, our whole setup, we sat at computers for hours trying to figure out how to do our scales, how to do our labels. And no one came and walked us through. We learned it from, clicking on, going on internet. How do we do this? How do we do that? Very hands-on, very hands-on. And another thing that I think I would change would be the expectation. Sometimes we put our expectation one track, but sometimes it allows us to get out of the box when you don't just allow your expectation to be one set of people. Going back to what we said earlier, but going beyond your circle, going beyond your family, and actually going after the nation and not limiting yourself. I think that's another thing that I would change, the expectation.
You just dropped some major knowledge right there. Don't limit yourself with your own expectations, because you never know how far you can actually go if you just allow things to flow naturally. God said, if you build it, they'll come. So if you just put your idea out there and allow him to nourish it and make it grow, you never know the boundaries you can break through and how far you can go. So that's awesome. Don't limit yourself with your own expectations. Somebody need to put that in the comments. Okay, so We're getting real close to the end of the show here, and I have thoroughly enjoyed talking to you ladies. What I would like for you to do is give us some last words or one last tip that you would like our audience to know about yourself, about business, about anything. Just what's your advice to someone watching today?
Don't despise small beginnings. You have to start somewhere, but start. Just start. And it's called process. You're gonna hit your lows, you're gonna hit your highs, you're gonna maneuver, get through it. But don't despise small beginnings. We are a small online, but we're looking to go greater. But where we are, you gotta start. So I would encourage you, start. Just start. Get going. It'll work out. Have a plan. Now have a plan.
Right.
Don't look for God to do it all. You need a plan. Write it down, map it out, but at the same time, start somewhere.
To piggyback off that, I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, whatever business idea you have, whether it's non-for-profit, for-profit, I would say just start it. Like I said before, there's 9 billion people on the planet, and don't have that mindset, well, everybody's selling this and everybody's doing this. I want to do something different. Well, but everybody is not you. So whatever that idea is that you have, write it down, write the vision, and go after it. Because eventually, like you said, you build it, they will come. So whatever it is, I would say go after it.
Great, ladies. What I heard in all of that you all just said is faith without works is dead.
Absolutely.
You take
Absolutely.
the first step, he'll take 2, right?
Yes,
Right.
sir.
Well, thank you, ladies, so much for joining us. And if anyone wants to patronize your business, I see your Instagram is Come Get Dressed With Us, but they can also go to your website, which is getdressedco.com, right?
It's actually getdressedfashion.com.
Getdressedfashion.com. Glad I said
Yeah.
that so you can correct me. All right, ladies, it has been an absolute pleasure. I would like to thank you both for joining me today. Also, I would like to thank our Boss Up family for watching and everyone out there that is viewing and for sharing. We would like to thank our senior pastor. And like he always says, if you be good to God, God will be good to you. Until next time, family, y'all have a great weekend. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.